Hey, what's going on, ladies and gents? So I want to talk to you people about the Darrell Brooks verdict because yesterday, Darrell Brooks, the man who was accused of driving an SUV into a crowd and killing six people during the Waukesha Christmas parade, he's been found guilty on all counts. So, obviously, I'm just glad that justice is going to be served for the victims here, for all the people that died in this very horrific tragedy. And, this is the latest case of possibly one of the most horrific tragedies I've ever came across with, especially like right around Christmas, when you're at a parade, you just want to have a good time, get prepared for the holidays, enjoy, just basically, just get the, and enjoy the fun, experience of being able to, of being able to basically just, witness Christmas and all that stuff, and just, get ready for the holidays and all that. And of course, some crazy dude just decided to plow his SUV. Well, I don't know if it was his or not, but he decided to basically plow his SUV into a crowd of people, and because of that, he was found guilty. But the really thing that disturbs me the most about this trial here is the fact that, Darrell, the man who did this didn't even show any remorse. Darrell Brooks, he basically represented himself at the trial, and I can't tell you how this is possibly the foolish thing I've ever seen anybody do, let alone any defendant do during a trial. Basically just them thinking they can just represent themselves, and them thinking the judge and the jury are going to fall for their antics. Well, that's not the case, really, because I don't know what Darrell Brooks was thinking yesterday, but I mean, let alone during the whole trial, by just thinking he was going to just fool the judge and try and cause a court disturbance. Like, dude, one thing I have to give the judge credit here for is just the way how she handled it, because the way how I see it, I feel like that the judge handled Darrell Brooks's antics in the courtroom very, very well. Because, I mean, if you think about it, I can't imagine how painful it must have been for, the Waukesha family victims to, have to deal and witness, not only the guy who was responsible for their loved ones, passing away, not only how really I feel like how really uncomfortable it must have been for him to witness his antics in court, and let alone him not even show a single ounce of remorse for what he did. So I don't know what the heck Darrell Brooks tried to accomplish in this thing, but the only thing he really did was make himself look like just the biggest, I guess you could say, narcissist I've ever witnessed, in terms of any defendant. Whenever I sometimes watch courtroom proceedings on YouTube and all that stuff, because clearly his behavior in the courtroom was very unprofessional, and the fact that, he didn't even show any remorse for all the people that he killed in the Waukesha parade is what is very disturbing about this court case, that it makes you realize that, the only thing that would be appropriate for him at this point is a life sentence without the possibility of parole, because it's like, he obviously, his lack of remorse is what really concerned me the most about this trial, because I just don't get why it is, especially like if there's like an overwhelming amount of evidence against him, the least he could do in this case is maybe show remorse towards like towards the victims' families, but he didn't even do that. So yeah, the only thing I can say about this is that I'm glad he was found guilty, and I hope justice will be served for all the people that now that justice will be served for all the people that died in the Waukesha parade tragedy and all that stuff. But it makes you realize here that this is possibly the most, I guess you could say possibly one of the most disturbing, if not the most disturbing court proceedings I've ever witnessed, when I was watching, him just basically try and make excuses, just him basically trying to, fool the judge, him just basically act out in court. It's like, dude, you're in court, the amount of evidence against you is overwhelming, and I don't get why he chose to represent himself. It's like, representing yourself in court is probably not a good idea, if you honestly ask me. No matter what the case is, you always need a lawyer in situations like this, and just what he did, especially not only in the Waukesha parade tragedy, but just the way how he just didn't even show any remorse in court is what is really disturbing about this case. But, I just have to come on here and say, hey, looks like justice will be served for all the victims and all that stuff. But really, the fact that Darrell Brooks didn't even show any single ounce of remorse is what is really, I feel like, pretty disturbing about this case. So that's all I have to say. See ya.